welcome to the Mauser Mic channel. In my Mannlicher M.95 video, I covered the development of the rifle along with some history of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Steyr, and Ferdinand Mannlicher himself. This video will cover the Mannlicher post-Great War, as well as my Bulgarian conversion, an M.95 34 carbine, which I believe was actually a post-World War II conversion. The end of the Great War saw the breakup of the Austro-Hungarian Empire into Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, parts of Poland, and the Balkan states joining together to form Yugoslavia. The Treaty of Saint-Germain forced Austria and Hungary to pay reparations, and several nations including Italy, Romania, Greece, and Yugoslavia received Mannlicher rifles and carbines as a part of this. Many of these weapons found their ways into the many uprisings and civil wars that occurred after World War I. Brno, which was now within the newly formed Czechoslovakia's borders, refurbished and produced Mannlichers for a couple years, but Czechoslovakia would soon see the superiority of the Mauser over the Mannlicher and would start producing Mausers, something I covered in my VZ24 video. Steyr, which officially became Steyr AG, was originally prohibited from producing weapons, so they stayed in business by making automobiles, motorcycles, bikes, machinery, and other items for the civilian market. They could only repair and modify existing weapons, which they did to help stay afloat. The world was awash in surplus rifles, so it was a buyer's market, and full infantry-length Mannlichers weren't attractive to potential buyers, thanks to experiences with the Lee Enfield, Springfield 1903s, and Mauser Car 98K AZs. Those 300 to 2600 Schritt sights provided little practical use. Steyr began converting M95 rifles by shortening them and chambering them in the more popular 7.9 by 57, or more commonly 8mm Mauser cartridge. The magazine was adapted to receive these rounds via stripper clips, and a 200 to 2000 meter sight replaced the old-style sights. This became the M95-24. These were used by Bulgaria, Greece, and Yugoslavia, with the latter adding an M to the M95 on the receiver, the second M representing Mauser. A Belgian firm would do this conversion to M88-90 rifles, creating the M88-24, but these were barely strong enough in the first place for the M1893 cartridge, let alone a full-power 8mm Mauser cartridge, so these made the Italian Vetterli Vitali Carcano conversions look safe. Greece looked to replace the Mannlicher Schonauer rifles lost in the war with a huge order placed to an Italian manufacturer in Brescia, Italy, but it is widely believed that these were produced by Steyr and just assembled and stored in Italy to get around all the Allied restrictions. Once these restrictions were relaxed by the late 20s, Steyr would produce a Mauser rifle, the Gewehr M.29, which is meant to compete with other Mauser rifles on the world market. While Steyr was again producing Mausers, the military was still committed to Mannlichers and looked to improve the M1893 cartridge. The Army, along with ammo firms Roth and Hertenberger, developed a round based on a rimmed 56mm case that fired a 208-grain full metal jacket Spitzer bullet at nearly 2,400 feet per second, using 40 grains of propellant. This lowered the trajectory and increased range. Originally intended for the Steyr Solotherm light machine gun, this round also fit existing clips and did not require any changes to the magazine or bolts on the M95 rifles. It was just a matter of reaming out the chambers and recalibrating the sights and meters. The round would become the M30S Patron. Steyr would begin converting the stockpiles of Austrian rifles, creating the repeated Carbiner M95-30, while their counterparts in Hungary would call their conversions the Húzsagál 31M. Conversions to take the new ammo are marked with an S on the Austrian rifles and an H on the Hungarians. While Austria would stick with straight pull rifles, Hungary would develop a turnbolt rifle using the Mannlicher clip-fed magazine called the Húzsagál 35M. Borrowing from several designs, the 35M would look like a product of an orgy with a Lee Enfield, a Gewehr 88, and a Mannlicher M95 as the participants. With the Anschluss, the German annexation of the Sudetenland and the rest of Czechoslovakia, Mausers were definitely the preferred rifle of the Third Reich, but M95-30s would be put to use since they were all over the southern, central, and eastern Europe. The Mannlichers would also end up in the hands of the Kriegsmarine, Luftwaffe, and police forces. They'd also be used by partisans of various nations as they rose against their Nazi occupiers. After the war, they saw sparing use in Austrian police forces, irregular forces in the Balkans, until they would be replaced with aid from either the U.S. or replaced by Mausers in the case of the Balkans. In areas that fell under Soviet influence, they'd be replaced by Soviet pattern rifles. The Mannlichers would either be shown to the scrap heap, or in the case of Bulgaria, put in storage. Bulgaria was later to adopt the M30 cartridge than Austria and Hungary, and started converting their rifles in 1934. While I've heard these rifles referred to as the M.95-34, there's no mention of this designation in my main source, and I have found a couple internet sources say that the M.95-34 was a designation placed on these carbines by an importer. Bulgaria is one of the few nations that kept a large quantity of Mannlicher rifles in storage well after the Second World War, and these might be some of the most pristine M95 pattern rifles that you can find. Evidence of Bulgarian refurbishment are the serial number on the right side of the wood stock, electro-pencil force match of the bolt, and with post-World War II rifles, a sanded and shellacked stock. Some of these were put into storage and not shot until sold in the surplus market, and I would say that mine is likely one of these. Shooting my rifle. This bolt seemed to run smoother than my M95 rifle, so it is a bit more enjoyable to shoot, although I would still take about any other World War II rifle over this. The short rifle did create some recoil, and I can see where somebody smaller than my really needs to lose weight self would call it stout, but I don't really perceive a difference in it from the K98K. It seems balanced enough, and is a nice small package if you need to carry it long distances. But if the M95 rifle fared badly versus its contemporaries in World War I, this is even lower on the list than its World War II counterparts. Please be aware of where your elected officials and the groups that claim to represent you stand on the Constitution. Please join the GOA, the largest no-compromise 2A organization, and get $5 off your membership with the link in my description. And no, I don't receive a kickback. If you like my content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Engagement really helps with YouTube's algorithms. Please check out my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, and who I support on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.